Oh, Breaker 19, this here's the gear jamming deer. Whitetail has got your front door, come on. Just setting a timer for 30 minutes. There we go. And this can just go over here, sure. Okay. So, let's just continue going here. $0.62 a mile with nuts. That is a long trip. Yeah, I think I'm liking this one better. It's a cent a mile less, but it's significantly shorter. It's all the yellow trucks. One thing I forgot to mention in the first video, which I also forgot to do just then. My mirror should be fine this time. I'm going to be trying to do my load selection somewhat realistically. So like, with the quick job system, the way it works in game, you can pretty much instantly jump to any city to jump in a truck and take a load. And that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So since I'm trying to have this be realistic, I'm going to limit myself when I'm selecting jobs, as long as I actually remember, to the city I'm in, or cities directly near it. And if I'm going to a nearby city, the load has to have enough time before it expires that I'd be able to get there in a taxi. This truck is a really fast turn signal. Excuse me. So, I kind of just looked out there that I happened to select a load coming from exactly where I delivered my last load. Because I completely forgot that I was going to do that until just now. Getting a little bit of stutter in there. I keep forgetting that they changed the car carrier. Guess I technically could have gone. I had my own lane. What is going on up here? It's all being very Las Vegas. I guess that right lane ends. Figures. No traffic coming up that lane until I get to the merge point. And then I forget to downshift. that lane in too? Yes, it does. What a horrible design for an interchange. Oh, and then there's... Wow, that is quite realistic, isn't it? Brilliant. Come on, I know you want to. There you go. Yay, we made it out of the city. After an accurate representation of trying to get out of a city on a Tuesday afternoon. I wish they'd rework Prim. I mean, I know that there are probably other places that need it much worse, but this looks nothing like Prim. And Prim is not a big city. I'm not sure if it actually qualifies as a city. It might just be a town. The road twisting here, I don't know what that's all about. Like, I haven't been through it in a while, but if I remember correctly, Prim is basically just... There's a casino on either side of the interstate, and a Flying J truck stop. And that's pretty much it. I think there's a little bit of suburbs on the north side. And then 15 continues south, straight, and then hits mountains. Where in the game, Prim is just an intersection. You don't have casinos, you do have a truck stop, but it's not big enough. It's so completely wrong, and it upsets me. I'm sorry if I feel a little, if I sound a little nasally, by the way. Seasonal allergies are getting to me slightly, and my nose is a bit stuffy. Oh, we're in California now, aren't we? Are we? Are we in California already? I guess we are. Prim's right on the state line. Whoopsie. Let me slow down. I think we're going to want that 12th gear. This is where this camera centers? I want more like this. Maybe once we get to a little bit later in the series when I'm doing longer loads, I might start adjusting the camera in the quick drop trucks, but for the most part, it just isn't feel worth it. Excuse me. Sorry about that. No idea where that came from. Also worth mentioning, I'm almost certain that the agriculture check on I-15 is between Prim and the mountains. We definitely should have gone through it already. Have they not added the agriculture check to this highway yet? Because I thought they added them to all the entrances. All the border... You know what I mean. Going for the risky passing maneuver. It's worked. Downshift this hill. Hopefully I can just let the truck do its thing now. I guess that's the cruise control light? Yeah. I'm not using my Jake brake, by the way, because I don't have enough buttons on my controller to have a Jake brake button. Similarly, I don't have air brake simulation on because it's too difficult to regulate using the brakes, using the controller, and I just constantly run out of air. So, you know, when I'm playing with my steering wheel, I do both use my Jake brake realistically and have air brake simulation on, but I can't with the controller. It's just, it makes it unnecessarily annoying, to put it that way. And, you know, nothing against anyone who has their controls set up differently so they can use the Jake brake or does use air brake simulation with a controller. It's not impossible. I just find it annoying. And I'm not bothering, like, I could probably slightly remap my controls so that I could use my Jake brake, but I'm not bothering to at this point because I'm so used to not having the Jake brake on the controller that I wouldn't think about it. So I wouldn't use the Jake brake regardless. As for sticking my head out the window, that is actually something I do in real life. Well, because I drive a truck that doesn't have a wide cab, in real life, I don't stick my head out the window, I actually open the door and stick my head out the door. But when I drove a Volvo, I did stick my head out the window, so. A little bit too far to the left. But it'll take it, so I'm happy. Yay! Oh, got another skill point. Let's go with a long distance. Despite the fact I've specifically been choosing short loads. And I'm going to continue to do that now. After taking a nap, because I try not to drive at night if I can help it. So let me... Once again, not necessarily the most realistic, but this is how I take naps. Ooh. Funky. I'm not sure if that's due to one of my mods or what. I guess it's less immersive, but it's technically more realistic, if that makes sense. Since I'm not using the hours of service stuff that's built into the game. Because it's stupid. So I am in Barstow. I guess we're going to Oakland. I'm not sure I'm going to have time for this run. It's mostly flat. Maybe I'll be able to make it. The first video was slightly short, so this video will be slightly long. And it's raining. And it's still dark at 7 a.m. on a summer day in California. I'm not sure that makes sense. Jeez, this truck is quiet. My LT isn't that quiet. Wonder if this one has an international engine. I should also mention, the way I tend to do these sorts of profiles, regarding traffic offenses, is if I get something that is plainly an incredibly stupid offense, like I stop at a red light, but I'm slightly over the line and it gives me a red light offense, or I legally turn right on red and it gives me a red light offense. I've had that happen before. Or if a car hits me where it very obviously wasn't my fault, but it gives me the ticket. Stuff like that. I will go and edit my save file to give myself the money back. Now, obviously, if I do something like speeding, I'll almost never reverse. There's very rarely a time where I get an inaccurate speeding ticket. The one that I pretty much always reverse, and might actually make a simple mod to just disable it entirely, is headlight offenses. Just, I don't know what this game uses to calculate when you should be getting headlight offenses, but it is not accurate. I specifically remember one time, it was just after noon on a bright sunny day, and I got a headlight offense. Where's the sense in that? This truck is an 18 speed? Huh. It's funny, back when there were only 4 trucks in the game, there was a bit of a formula to how quick job trucks were done. If it was a day cab, it had a 10 speed and a weak engine. If it was a mid-roof, it had a 13 speed and a mid-range engine. And if it was a big sleeper, it had an 18 speed and a big engine. Obviously, they've changed that up a bit now, because this is not a big roof. I didn't look at what size the engine is. I'm going to assume it makes 455, which is, incidentally, what my International in real life makes. And it has an 18 speed, which is interesting. Might actually go and dig out one of my old mods that's up on the Steam Workshop, actually. That it was from back when there were only 4 trucks in the game. It adds a lot more configurations to the quick job trucks, specifically for when I was doing profiles like this, because I spent a lot of time in the beginning driving quick job trucks. So I might go and see if that mod still works. Obviously, it'll, you know, it's not up to date with all the new trucks that are in the game, and it took me hours. Like, originally there were 3 configurations for each truck, so 3 times 4, there were 12 potential trucks that you could drive in a quick job. And that was also before the before the big low boys were added, so, because I added a few more configurations that are all, like, the most powerful versions of the trucks you can make. And none of that was in the game back when I made this mod. So, I think I upped it to something like 200 configurations that you could get. Some of them using save editing tactics to make pretty interesting looking trucks. But, you know, it's only the 2 Kenworths and the 2 Peterbilts, because that's all that was in the game at the time. So, the fear I'd have with activating that now is, 1, I'm pretty sure that none of the W900 configurations work because of the W900 update. And 2, it would make the overwhelming majority of trucks that come up in quick jobs be either the 2 Kenworths or the 2 Peterbilts. Well, the T680 or the 2 Peterbilts, because I have to remove all the W900 configurations. And I think that would be less fun than just letting it do the way it does now. I might, at some point in the future, make a modern version of that mod, but it was, like, it took me, like, 2 days to write up all those configurations. And it's not necessarily that it's difficult, it's just tedious. Especially with how many options there are on the newer trucks. And because I have the W900 DLC, trying to make sure that all the configurations don't need the DLC to work, it would just be a pain in the butt. So I'm probably not going to bother with that, but I might. And of course, it will be updated on the Steam Workshop if that were to happen. There we go. Now I feel right at home. Driving a white out a white LT with pretty much the same trim that my truck has in real life. The only difference is the size of the cab. And the fact that it's got an 18-speed. Actually, I don't know, it's got chrome stuff on it. I was gonna say, if it didn't have the chrome grille, with this truck would actually be pretty similar to mine. Though, interestingly, I wonder if the LT in this game is older than the one I have in real life. Because my Jake controls are not on the dash. They're on the... You move the shifter knob up and down for the Jake brake. Which is how most modern trucks are. Most modern automatics, I should say. Though, that might just be a configuration option, because I've driven LTs as old as 2018, and I've never driven an LT that had the, Jake on the dash. Light seems to be mounted rather askew. Well, if I was still downshift, as if I do have a Jake brake. Well, I mean, I have a Jake brake, but not that button. That button. One complaint I do have with the way this truck is modeled, and I'm not sure how this happens. I feel like this is about the same height that I sit at in my real truck, but in my truck, I can see a lot more of the hood than I can on the in-game truck. I might try, when we get to the destination, before I deliver quick, I'm going to try raising the seat and see how high I have to be to see the amount of the hood that I can see in real life. Because I was worried the same thing would happen with the 3rd Gen VNL, and it didn't on that truck. You can see just as much hood in-game as you can in real life. So it's almost like the hood on this truck slopes more than it should, but from third person, it doesn't look like it does. Alright, well, that's my 30-minute timer done. And we still got a long ways to go on this load, relative, you know. If I was playing on a different profile where I wasn't following traffic rules, I'd be there in a jiffy. But on this profile, I might go ahead. Of course, there's not really anywhere good to stop here. I might go ahead and split this load into the next video. Oh, rest area. Perfect. I knew there was a rest area up here somewhere. I haven't forgotten that much of this game's map. Just pull up here. This truck stop is backwards. Real quick, adjust seat. Okay, so I think that's about right. Even this isn't exactly right, but you see, if you look at the middle of the hood, you can just barely see... here. Oops, not that button. Right there, you can just barely see the line that goes down the middle of the hood on the outside. Where I sit, I'm definitely not this close to the ceiling in real life. But I can easily see that split in the hood. Do I sit this high? %99 sure I don't sit this high in real life. No, I definitely don't look down at my mirrors. I don't know. I do like sitting high, though. Like, compared to most drivers, I prefer to sit higher. And part of that is because I slouch. I can see that line in the hood when I'm sitting straight. So then what sometimes happens is I slouch down, and then I end up at about this level. So I don't know. It feels like the hood slope isn't 100% accurate, but I guess it's not as off as I thought it was. Like, I feel like this is roughly the height that I sit at in real life. And here in real life, I can see that split in the hood. So anyway, with all that being said, I'm going to leave this here for the moment. Obviously, I'll be picking it right back up in the next video. So until then, keep the hammer down, drivers.